Up with attorney Linda Bernard here on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. You can watch us, listen to us, subscribe, and comment on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, every single social media platform. We're global. And my guest today is the very distinguished Dr. Sabrina Jackson. Hi, Sabrina. How are you?
Hi, attorney Linda Bernard.
You look magnificent as usual, and I like that, Dr. Sabrina, across your blue hoodie, which you need today because it's so very, very cold.
That's exactly why I have it on. Of course, I want to promote my own things, but I absolutely want to stay warm because we are here in Michigan and it is frigid today.
It is. It has been frigid for a few days.
It
and
has.
Lots of snow too,
I know.
which is nice. I like snow.
I don't.
I don't like driving in it, but I like the snow.
I don't.
Why? Really?
I don't. If I could see sun and palm trees, that would make my life so much better.
Okay. Well, you just have to giddy up. We got an international airport out there, just up and away.
I'll be leaving really soon.
I'm sure you will be.
Yes.
I understand that. Before we began the show today, you were talking about some new initiatives of yours, and I'd like you to tell us that before I get into the substance of my questions for you.
Oh, well, okay. So, people may or may not know this. I mean, people see me on TV, so they know that I do TV. But I have actually been in 9, it's 9 now, 9 movies.
Wow.
9 movies. And so I'm so excited about the entertainment space. And so I do a weekly segment with Michael Collier, the comedian.
I know Michael.
He has a morning radio show out in LA, and I have a segment called De-Stress with Dr. Sabrina. And so one day I was doing the show, and I got an inbox on my Instagram from a director and a movie maker, and he is doing a sitcom, and he immediately thought of a regular reoccurring role for me. Wow. And so I'll be flying out to go and tape next month.
Are you going? Where are you going?
We're going to Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
Atlanta.
There are actually more movies done in Atlanta now than in California.
Yes.
Which is amazing.
Yes.
Hollywood
amazing.
Is no longer the Mecca.
It's no longer the Mecca. So I'll be going there, and I'm so excited about it because what it did is it helps me to see that the things that I just do because I just do them, because that's just me, that it has a place. It has a space where people can enjoy, people can learn from it. So not only is it a comedy and people can laugh, but one of the reasons that he really wanted me is because he wanted to weave in tips and tools around mental health that people can take away, even though they're laughing. So I'm excited about that.
It's like what in the old days they used to call cracking, but facking.
Yes.
It's entertaining, but if you're listening, it's saying much more than just, it's more in it. Jesse Jackson says there's more to a car than a ride.
Yes.
There's a reason to buy like American cars because they hire Black people. They buy things from African Americans, etc. And what you're saying is that there's more to the show than the laugh.
Yes.
I mean,
although laughter. Laughter is medicine. Yes,
it's
medicine for the soul. You absolutely
really
need to laugh. I laugh every day on purpose.
Me too. But there's a consciousness that you will bring to the laughter, just like they attempt to do on Blackish. I think that's exactly, they're trying to bring you in to provide the substance that's necessary to make the show meaningful.
Absolutely.
There's more
and I
to
really
the show
appreciate
than
that. I appreciate even the mindset that someone wants it to be beyond just entertaining.
I agree.
But educating.
Correct.
And so it's a term that a man out of LA created years ago called edutainment.
Yes, it is. I remember that.
Yep,
right.
Edutainment. So you got to have a little education and a little entertainment. When you fuse those two, people get it and they use it. And so I am so excited to be a part of that.
That's wonderful. I can't wait. Can you say the name of the show yet, or you can't?
I cannot.
Okay, you're under confidentiality
agreement. An NDA.
NDA. Right.
So I'm probably talking too much now.
No. You're fine. I mean, no one.
Nothing.
It's just. I mean, there's so much going on in Atlanta. I mean, and there are a number of entertainment companies there, and of course, the Godfathers, who we know best of all,
Tyler.
Right.
Tyler Perry is
he
doing
is
the darn thing. And when I tell you, I watch every single thing he do.
Me too.
I watch every single thing
And it gives black
does
actors some money. I
some
love
money.
that.
Come on. And so I don't know if you see his new piece that he's actually just the producer. Is he just the producer? He's not writing this one, but it's called All the Queen's Men.
No, I'll have to check
Oh
that
my
out.
Lord.
What network is
Oh
it
my
on?
Lord, it's on BET.
All the Queen's
BET. I
Men.
think it's BET Plus or BET. No.
Okay,
It's
All
one
the
of the
Queen's Men.
All the Queen's Men. And so
BET.
Eva, the model, Eva, I can't pronounce her last name, but she is the star.
Okay.
And so I don't know if you watched the show that used to come on, was coming back, but P Valley.
Yeah, I love P Valley.
Okay. If you love P Valley, you're gonna love All the Queen's Men, because P Valley was in a
Girls.
female strip club
Right.
with a man leading the club.
Correct.
You know, Uncle
Right.
Uncle Clifford. Now they have a male strip club with a woman leading it, and that's
All
Eva.
right.
And when I say she gangster, she gangster.
Oh wow. I
She
can't wait to
gangster.
see
She
it.
much less shoot you than ask you a question.
he-
I love her.
And he is amazing to me.
And
I
so,
can't believe he let somebody else write. Because
well,
he
the guy
writes,
who
produces,
and he does it all.
everything.
But when he sees a good story, so Christopher Keys is from here.
Okay.
He's very handsome. He's the actor. A lot of people have seen him. He has a tattoo of a cross right here on his chest.
Okay. Wow.
He used to model
I have
for
to get to
Sharon.
the chest.
Remember
So
Sharon?
I can see that. So I can see the tattoo. You just gave me a new goal here.
A new goal in life is to see the chest.
Right.
But he's the writer. And so I'm
Okay.
so excited for him because he's been in a lot. He's been in the Zane shows.
Oh, yeah, I like
He's
Zane.
been in the what's the name of the family business? What's the one? All Saints and Sinners.
Okay.
He's in Saints and Sinners. And so I'm just really happy that his acting has now led to what he's written actually being a show. And it's a super duper success. They've already renewed for 2 new seasons.
For
All
the
the
Queen's
Queen's
Men.
Men.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I'm going to check it out. I have to start at the beginning because I don't like the beginning.
Well, this is only one season. The other season hasn't started yet. So
okay. So I'll
I'm
go
patiently waiting.
Oh, well, I want to see the cross. So I'm incentivized by you,
yes,
Dr. Sabrina
I really
Jackson.
believe in supporting our own. I do too. I really do. I in places that I go eat, where I buy my things. I just really, and then especially in the entertainment space, because it is such a great feeling when you can look at the screen and see someone like you. And so I was doing some research the other day, and I was just doing some research about venture capitalists, because I wrote an article for a magazine about the truth about venture capitalists. And one of the things that I found out is that in 2020, only 2.3% of all venture capitalist dollars for that year went to women. 2.3%. And is that for all women? So you know the number for Black women is much.
It's the 0.3.
Yes, yes. And so
0.3%.
Oh my God. It's just, and so I think that when we think about venture capitalists, a lot of us feel intimidated by it because we don't understand it. And we haven't been taught about it. And so I think that there's spaces and places where we don't show up. And then if we do show up, we're not given the type of accolades, the attention, the highlights, so that other people can see that look like us, that's the spaces that we're in. So I remember some years ago, I was speaking at a pharmaceutical companies. They're out of Germany, and I was a keynote speaker for them. And after the talk, a lady came up to me, a Black lady, and she was crying. And I was like, "Oh, baby, what's wrong?" And she was an older lady. And she said, "I've been here 20 years.
Oh.
And I've never seen a Black woman on that stage speaking.
I believe it.
Ever.
I believe it.
She said, so to see a Black woman, not only a Black woman, but a chocolate goodie on the stage and commanding." And so the president of the company flew in for my talk. And so she said, he's never done that.
Isn't that wonderful?
And so I was like, wow. And then they used me. They were doing some commercials for some ads they were doing, and they used me in one of their commercials. And so it's just amazing how, you go and you work and you're just doing what you're doing, but then God is opening up doors of opportunity.
Each one teach one. It just keeps, and the chain begins. And that's what happened. Congratulations to you on that. That's a tremendous accomplishment. And I'm looking forward to being able to interview you after you start the production on the show, because then you can
Yes,
start to talk about it
absolutely.
and promote it.
Absolutely.
And
I'm so excited about it. In
so you're
fact,
going
he
down to the
I'm
ATL.
going to the ATL. It's so crazy because this is in March. So in March, I'm going from the ATL. When
Hmm.
I leave the ATL, I'm going to London. And when I leave London, I'm going to North Carolina.
Okay.
So I'll be scooting around on the plane,
Well,
scooting
good
around
for
on the
you. Good
planes.
for
Yes,
you.
and I'm going to London because I have a clothing line and I'm going for a fashion show there
That'll be fun.
in Oxford. Yeah.
That'll be great.
I'm so
A
excited.
guy by the name of Sadie
Sadie,
from
I know
Detroit
Sadie.
is going to Paris
I know. You know, he
next
went to
week.
Paris with me 2 years ago.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I know he hasn't talked about it, but I'll talk about it. He's been to Paris before with Dr. Sabrina, with the Dr. Sabrina collection.
Yes, and he's a
Yes.
fabulous guy. I just met him, and
Mhm.
a whole group of women from Detroit are going, about 30 of them actually, to support him and this 4 day extra. As a matter of fact, it's on my phone. I'll send it to you before we leave. But we're watching Chop It Up with attorney Linda Bernard, and my guest today is Dr. Sabrina Jackson, the infamous Dr. Sabrina Jackson. And while I'm on this point, please watch us, listen to us, call us, let us know what you think on YouTube, certainly Facebook, every single social media platform, Twitch, Twitter, etc. You're watching again WJZZ, Cool TV, the coolest station in the nation. Now, last week, as you may recall, I talked a lot about Dr. Sabrina Jackson and her various points and philosophies. Whenever she's talking, I always have to get out a pad and a paper because that's the only way I can capture everything. Because she is precise and concise, so that
Oh,
is very important.
thank you.
And so, I mean, she's worth listening to, and she's definitely worth thinking about it later and certainly looking at your notes. But today, I wanted to talk about something a little different
Okay.
that we've never talked about before,
Okay.
and that is relationships, male,
Ooh.
female, or significant other
Other.
and significant other, because we don't know anymore. It could be female, female, male, male.
Abs-
And the reason I want to talk about this is that Netflix this past week, on February 2nd, created quite a stir with a show called Tinder Swindler. And it's a true story.
Tinder Swindler.
Yeah. A
Oh,
girl,
on Tinder.
yeah, I want to talk about that because I really think our audience need, especially female and male,
And
because,
males.
right, because they're
Because
both
there's
on
some,
the,
yep,
everybody's on
yep.
Tinder and this one and the other one, all these different dating apps. Um, I really want to talk about this because I think there's some clues from that, and I want you to elaborate on them and tell me why.
Okay.
Okay, this young woman, her real name is Cecile Fiore. She's a Norwegian. She was 29 years old, grad student. She was actually living in London at the time. She went on Tinder. You have to pay for Tinder. Tinder is not one of those free Black Love and all that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm,
dating sites.
mm-hmm,
Okay.
mm-hmm.
She thought she met a wonderful 28-year-old guy who was a billionaire. I mean, his pictures were him on jets. He was here, he was there, he was all over the world. So there was no reason for her not to believe him. She believed social media, and I want to come back to that in a minute. She was at one point she's really falling for him. He took her to some city on his private jet. I mean, he took her. He only stayed at the Four Seasons Hotel in London and here and in New York and everything. So there was no reason for her to suspect that he was a fake. I mean,
Okay.
because he was beyond living large.
He
I
was
mean,
living
we
large.
no, he was beyond our large. He was way over that. I mean, he was living gargantuan.
Okay.
A
Okay.
private jet and all this kind of stuff, flying you to dinner there and all that kind of thing. So anyway, eventually he has this guy. He says he's his bodyguard. That people are trying, to hurt him. So he has to have a bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
And so at some point, he's in a different city, and he says, "I don't want to use my credit cards to." I don't want to use my credit cards to this time because I know that these people are looking for him. He's in the diamond business.
Okay.
And so she Googles the diamond business, and there's a man in Israel, a billionaire, who has his last name, and she assumes that's his son, with another Jewish person. So she does all of this, and then he calls and talks about the fact he can't, he doesn't want to, because he doesn't want to be tracked by these people who may be trying to rob him, hurt him, etc.
Uh-huh.
So He asked her, can he use her credit card for things? So he charges $100,000 on her credit card. And then he sends, wait a minute. And then ultimately he sends her the money, but then he sets her up for a bigger hit for the 200. Now he's someplace and he's got 4 places to go to. He needs her credit card. So she winds up charging $250,000 on an American Express card. He sends her a check for $500,000, as a courtesy because she was kind enough to do this. Well, that check bounces.
Of course it does.
Okay, you're ahead of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, she's left, so to speak, ass out. Not only has he done this to her, he used the $250,000 for another lady for another mark.
Yep, yeah, another mark. So and they have it down to a science.
Yeah, and this is happening
all over, all over the world.
And I want to ask you about this because I have girlfriends. I'm not on social media dating site, although I know people have done it very, very successfully.
I am.
Good for you. Well, we're gonna talk about that. Mm-hmm. Okay, good. And they tell me that these guys, they get all these calls and so forth, and they'll be in Nigeria, or they'll be somewhere else, or somewhere.
And sometimes pictures of different people,
and she'll meet them sometimes, and you still can't figure any of this out. So I want to talk to you about this phenomenon now with online dating,
mm-hmm.
and how media is so easily corrupted, because I can take pictures in a Rolls Royce today or whatever I got to do. But the bottom line is that what is your suggestion to people? First of all, let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
You're on social media.
I am. I am on
a dating site.
I am on a couple of dating sites.
Okay. And see, I thought you were in love and lust and in like.
Right now.
You're in love and in lust and in like. All three bases covered.
All of that.
As I say, you got the bases covered. Okay.
Well,
but what do you do about this?
This is the thing about anything, and so I consider dating sites as a tool. And any tool that you use, you have to learn the rules of the tool. And so there are rules to social media, and so because it's not just dating sites. Somebody can slide in your direct message just on Facebook and say, "Oh, I saw you on such and such." So all of that is possible. So it's not just the dating site that you put yourself out there for that. Anything that you are out there in the world as, people can begin to gravitate to you. And so you have to have rules of how you engage. The rules of engagement is what I'll call it for dating sites. So the first thing is you have to look at their their profiles, and their profiles may or may not be true. But then if you cannot talk to them in person, block them and delete them immediately.
You mean can't talk to them on the phone?
Like on the phone. If they say stuff like, "Oh, well, I can only talk on email." I don't need a pen pal. I'm not on here for a pen pal. So I'm not going to just talk to you on an email. I'm not chatting with you.
I don't like to type.
I'm not doing any of that. I'm not doing any of that. Mm-hmm. And so that's the first thing. The second thing, they're scams. And because they're scams, you can Google dating site scams, because they change. And as they change, these phenomena, you can Google them and find out what they are. And so like one of the popular scams is that they will say that they work on a oil rig.
Okay.
They work on an oil rig. So if they work on an oil rig, they can't get
reception
all the time. So it's hard. If you hear them, it's crackling.
Right.
And then they're always a widow. They've lost their wife. The wife isn't, they're not divorced. The wife is dead.
Mm-hmm. Which gives you comfort, essentially.
Like you don't and then they have one child, but the one child lives with his mother or
it's grown. Yeah. The kid is grown.
No, they're never grown. Oh. They're never grown. They're all, because see, that's a part of the hook, is that I need something for my child. My child is ill. I can't get money to them. Can you send the money here? All of that is a part of the hook of why they're going to ask you for money. Because at the end of the day, there are groups of people, mainly from Nigeria. Nigeria is the hub of the scammers. and they have a whole little script. They all use the same script. And so they are divorced, or no, not divorced, they are
Widowed.
widowed. They have a child. Usually the child is between like 8 and 12, right up in there. Yeah. And they themselves work on an oil rig. So they're out in the middle. I'm out in the middle. Like I'm from, like they'll say, I'm from Mississippi, but I'm now in the middle of some ocean, someplace in the world, and you can't see them. And so there's going to be months before, but can I get to know you? I want to be your friend. I want to get to know you. Can you tell me some things about yourself? Can you, and then oh baby,
How was your day?
oh sweetie, oh you're so beautiful. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so for women or men, because there are women who have scams too. There's women who are looking for a man to take care of them, and for a man to take all the man's money.
My girlfriend did that.
Yeah.
She got about 20,000 from this white guy, but he was a legitimate person that actually worked around. He works on yachts, so there's only a few people in the world that really can work. He was Norwegian. She's a black woman, and he was Norwegian, and he worked on yachts. And so wherever he would go, he would be away for 5 or 6 months, but he'd call all the time, and she'd, well, I need this and I need that, and he actually paid off her bills and all that stuff. And he was a nice looking guy. Sent her pictures of him on the yachts and all that stuff. This went on for about a year or so. She got about 20 grand. And then she, and a nice looking guy, crystal clear blue eyes, hard body, because that's what he does. And when he got there, when he came back to the United States in Houston, she broke up with him because she didn't want a person that was traveling, because when you have a yacht, I mean, if I have you come out and fix my yacht, you're gonna be there 4 months, 5 months, And he was gonna send for her. He was in South Africa and then up back in Europe and Italy and stuff. But she didn't want, she said no. But I think it was the con was she was the con
was
artist.
in. Yeah. And so
she got the con.
Yeah, and so the other thing is that it's important to know that stop thinking of dating sites as a dating site. You don't date on a site.
Okay.
Dating sites are just a tool for introduction.
Okie doke.
And it's a way to meet people. And so a person, I hear people say, well, I would never use a dating site because you don't know that person. Well, if I walk up to you in the club, I don't know you
either.
I don't know you.
And I've had more disappointments from that.
Hello.
Than I have from any
Thank you.
I don't have a dating site, but
so yeah. So you
lots of disappointments in life.
Could be disappointments anywhere. So you have to, as the person that's available, you have to create the safeguards for yourself. Mm-hmm. So one of the things is that I never would go to a person's house that I met online for the first time. Like the first time I see you.
You're supposed to meet like at a coffee shop.
Absolutely.
Meet for coffee.
Meet for coffee. And stop, and women, stop asking men to take you to dinner. They don't know you, so why should they spend dinner on you?
Right.
It's okay to go for coffee or for a hot chocolate or maybe a cocktail, but not a whole dinner.
Right. And when you get there, don't order the most expensive scotch, the $40 scotch a shot, $40 a shot. Makes no sense.
It makes no sense. And then I know women that'll go, well, if he don't have this, well, he may have it, but think about it. If he is single and he's trying to get to meet someone, you're not the only person that he's done took out. So don't spend all the man's money, because you wouldn't want. I think like
I'll spend my own money. I'll buy my
I don't want to treat someone in a way that I don't want to be treated, because I believe that you draw to you what's in you. And so if there is ookie stookie inside of you, you're going to draw ookie stookie. I'm just saying. So you have to make sure that you are authentic yourself and you're not running game, because sometimes the women are running game too.
Yep, they are.
Game, recognize game. I'm saying.
Sometimes. But sometimes you just get, and we've all been taken advantage of in one way or another.
Yeah, we've been taken advantage of, but I'm not sending you no money.
No.
I'm not sending you no money, and I don't care. I don't know you, and even if I know you, the only person I'm sending money to is Marcel Fisher Smith,
your son,
my son.
I heard that now.
The only male person that I'm sending money to. Now, if I were married if I was in a long time relationship, then of course I'm gonna help my man. Of course I will.
Right, as he would help you.
Because we have established a history of
Right.
how we're going to work together. However, I'm just saying, y'all need to be careful out here in this dating world because it is some kind of different. And so, the other thing that I've noticed about people in the dating realm is that they will always talk sex early, like within the first conversation. Oh, I
Wow.
can't wait to what I'm gonna do to you, and I can't. Oh, you can't. I'm gonna touch you here. Do you like?
I find that very offensive.
It's extremely,
To me. It's
or
insulting to me.
it's insulting. There is so much more to me than what's in between
Right.
my legs.
I tell
really?
everybody, I tell everyone, the most important thing, every man, they don't understand, and people, I say, and women as well, I say, the most important thing I can offer you is my friendship. And there are only two things it takes for my friendship. It's not, and I tell guys, it's not the part of my anatomy that's between my legs. It's not, that's not it. I know that's the game, but that's not working. The most important thing I can offer you, Tom or Sam or whoever, is my friendship. And there are only two things that are required for my friendship. The first is always respect me. And the second is always be honest with me. If I ask you a straight question, give me a straight answer. If I ask you, did you do something? If you did it, tell me.
Tell me.
I'm okay with it because I know that shit happens.
Life happens. Yep.
Yeah, it just happens. I mean, you went out, you were drunk. I got that. I understand. I have a tremendous ability to understand, just as you do, because based on life experiences. But don't lie to me, and don't disrespect me.
Please don't.
That's the only two
disrespect
things, and they're free. And I tell the guy, I
I
say,
tell you up front.
yeah, I said this is free. It costs you. Pardon me. It costs you nothing to do this. Nothing. But if I ask you a straight question, if I ask you, are you dating Sabrina too? Tell me the truth. It's okay with me. I'm a big girl. I put my big girl pants on every day. So, but don't lie to me and don't disrespect me. That's the sine qua non.
Because at the end of the day, then
My
that gives
friendship
me
is
a
what's
choice.
valuable.
Yeah, I am a good
Friend. I already know you are.
friend. I'm a good person.
Me
I'm
too.
kind.
Generous.
I'll pray with you. I'll
Me and you
go.
both.
I'll come to see you
I got
when
your
you're in
back.
the hospital. I'll
I
do
got
all of
your
that.
back.
But let me tell you something.
I'll cook for you everything.
One of the things that I learned a lot during this last year is, I had COVID and I was in the
I didn't know
hospital
that.
for 28 days.
Sabrina, you
Oh
didn't
yeah, I
tell
almost
me.
died. I wasn't even here. I was in California.
Oh my God. When you went out to California
yes,
before when you were on the show before, you went to California.
yes,
Yeah, you were all excited. You were moving
yes,
there
and
and
I
all
got
that.
sick. I was so sick I almost died. Yes.
I am so sorry to hear that.
Yes.
And no one told me. Well, you
Yes.
couldn't tell me.
I couldn't tell you. Well, anyway, so let me say this: what I
I'm so sorry
learned
that I wasn't
about
able to support you.
being sick is that people are not concerned about you. They're only concerned about what you can do
for them.
And so I learned so much about the people in my circle. And I have made some massive changes about the people in my circle. Now, you might still be a friend or somebody I'll hang out
Social
with,
acquaintance.
but I learned.
You're not at your back anymore.
I'm not. Your emergency has not become my crisis. I am not, because I believe that the scriptures talk about reaping what you sow.
Correct.
And it talks about planting seeds. And then after you plant seeds, you have a harvest. Well, it's a reason why Jesus used the analogy for a farmer. Because farmers plant seeds.
And then there's a harvest.
And then there's a harvest.
Correct. You get something in the
back. The farmer never will plant the seed here, then go over there for their harvest. They go back to where they planted the seed.
Correct.
So if I plant a seed in you, I should expect a harvest.
Correct.
I should expect that if I call you, I can get a call back.
Correct.
If I ask you a question, I can get an answer if you got
Correct.
it. I should expect that. But oftentimes we don't get that, and then we still keep going over there. Stop doing that.
I agree with that. That's a very good analogy. You said where you plant your seed is where you should get your harvest. I've never heard that before, but it's so very, very true. Because you and I both have planted a million seeds. And there's no harvest. And there's not only is there a seed that we plant, there's loyalty that goes with that seed.
Yes.
There's respect that goes with that seed.
Yes.
There's caring and concern
that
and time and energy that go with that seed, and you never reap what you sowed.
And so that is what is called a mutated seed.
Okay. Meaning?
That it's not working for you.
Right.
It has what's a good word for that besides mutation. So when you think about
I
mutation,
know what you know.
there is
It's something that's
it's damaged.
yeah,
It's not
yeah.
healthy. It's
Right, right,
not
right. An unhealthy
beneficial,
seed,
and
right.
so you keep going places that aren't good for you. Oh, come on. Stop doing things and going places that aren't good for you. And that's in any relationship. That's with your friends, family. Just because I'm related to you does not mean that you're in my circle.
Correct.
It don't mean that I'm family. I'm down for family, but
Right.
I am very careful about who I tell my dreams to, who I tell my visions to, because people will be hating on you and try to pull you down, and they in the same gene pool as you.
But you know what's really distressing is, and I agree with you about the family thing. When you guys have you have blood, or they say blood is thicker than water. Not always, but what really is disturbing to me is if you've had long term relationships with people, and you think there's so many things you would do for them, or help them out, or look out for them, or legal work, or counseling work, or whatever, and then when something happens, they're not there for you. That's just amazing to me. There's
It
no
is,
intrinsic loyalty.
but this is the thing that I tell people. This is what I've learned about people. Pay attention to how people treat other people.
Okay, that's rule
Because
one. Rule
when
one.
you see them treating other people wrong, if they cuss out other people, if they mean to other people, if they talk about other people, trust and believe it's a part of their character, and you're going to
You're
get
right.
your turn.
It is a character flaw. It's what I tell people all the time. I mean, people will say things to me. Well, Linda, you do this, or you're bossy, or you're that. I say these are personality idiosyncrasies. They're not character flaws. Character flaws. I mean, I can change the way I talk, or
Mm-hmm,
may
mm-hmm.
or whatever I'm doing that you may find offensive. But it's my character that you should be looking at. Character cannot be changed. You either have it,
Or
good
you
character,
don't.
or you don't.
Or you
That's a
don't.
fact. And again, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Chop It Up with attorney Linda Bernard here on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world, and of course, in the nation. My guest is the infamous actress, therapist, PhD, businesswoman, entrepreneur, um, internationally known Dr. Sabrina Jackson.
Hey,
My girl.
yes. Hey, how you doing?
Right. No, but back to this point about dating and relationships and what's happening with social media, because so many people are on it now, Sabrina. This is an important conversation for men and
Mm-hmm,
women.
mm-hmm.
So you mentioned your first two rules are that is that you never go to someone's house. Well, I think
Yep,
people
yep.
know that.
No, they
Secondly,
don't. No, they don't. People don't know that. People don't know that. I know women
are you
who
serious?
have called me, and I mean
I
friends
don't
of
know any
mine.
who've done that.
I do, who said that, well, I really felt comfortable with him, so I went over to their house, and when I got there, he had a gun sitting on the table, and you still went in the house?
Oh my God, no. Oh no.
Yes, and so you have
I
to
thought
be.
the first rule was if you're going to meet a stranger, meet them in public.
Yes, but see, this is the thing. If they've
I
talked
mean,
to
even
a
for little
guy,
kids
if they talk to a guy and they've talked to them, say, for a week or 2 weeks, and
or
they talk to
longer.
them every day,
Hmm.
then they feel like they know them.
That's right.
So then they felt comfortable. You ain't that comfortable.
Mm-mm.
Don't go to somebody's house and you don't know that. And that's for men too.
Right.
And stop. Oh, this is another thing. When people ask you, do you live alone? Why the hell you need to know if I live alone?
Right.
You're not coming up. You ain't following. No.
Hmm.
No.
Don't tell them that
No,
either.
no, no. You don't know these people.
You're right. You don't.
So you have to protect yourself. And I know that when you are alone and you want love and you want somebody and all of that, you go, oh, he's so nice. And mm-mm.
You cannot accept anybody you're saying at face value.
No.
So the question becomes then, you meet somebody like some friends of mine just met a guy on social media, she flew to Atlanta, he flew here, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so they think they're getting to know each other. But when do you really know that it's part of a con?
Well, one of the things is that you look for um, what they're building up, because to me, they're always building up to an ask. So, like the guy, like the story you told me about the Tinder swindle,
Mm-hmm.
um, can't nobody ask me, can they use my credit card for $100,000 without knowing that there is even $100,000 available on my credit card. So there's something that he said or asked her to get him the information that he needed to build the
She was too
con.
open.
I don't tell nobody none of my business. You are not going to know my business
That
because
makes
I
sense.
don't know you
Correct.
to tell you my business, especially I was married and always had
Mm-hmm.
a little stash.
All women do.
Because
They
my
just had a
mama
stop
taught me
survey
that.
on that. That's right.
Mama said there'll be days like this.
Correct.
So yes, so I think that women and men, sometimes men tell all their business. No.
They do.
And so there is something about taking your time to get to know somebody and not asking all of their personal business, especially their financial business.
Correct.
Because what are you going to do with it and why do you want to know it?
Right. You can talk about sports. You can talk about movies.
We
talk
can
about
talk about your
politics.
character. We can talk about politics. We can
There's
talk
so many
about
things to talk about.
so many things
other
to
than
talk
your
about
personal business.
other than my personal finances. And why do you need to know it?
Correct.
Because I've had men ask me, "Well, I'm sure you probably made $50,000 on that thing. Well, why you want to know?"
Is that what you say?
Yes. Why do you
Right
want to
back in
know?
their face.
Why do you want to know? Don't ask. And I'll tell them, don't ask me about my money.
Mm-hmm.
That's not even, don't ask me about my credit. Don't ask me nothing about that yet.
Right.
If I think that this relationship is going someplace and I think that we are on the road, then we may begin to pull back some layers and begin to talk about it. But it has to be a fair exchange. Too often, it's really not a fair exchange. And just because you can fly me someplace and you done use the money from somebody else that you done stole from, don't get caught up in the fancy dancy stuff. Really look at a person's character because most people who are trying to impress you, they're not showing you their real self. They're just showing things that impress you. So then you have to ask yourself, what's really impressive to me? Because it's not like the guy that I'm talking to. He texted me the other day and called me the other day and said, "I am on my way to shovel my mother's snow." I love that.
Me too.
I went,
shows he's a good son.
I said, "You just got a point with me, sir." He says, "What you mean?" I says, "You are going to take care of your mother."
That's correct.
And that means a lot.
A lot to me too.
It means a lot.
A lot to me too.
How you treat the people around you, what other people have to say about you. That's you. Oh,
well, do you have certain, in terms of dating, do you have certain criteria for men? I mean, do they have to? I mean, does it matter what they do for a living? Like I say, if a guy makes $19 an hour, I mean, is he a person that you would find interesting?
Possibly. Okay. Because it's not about the money.
Me either.
It's really not about the money. People think it's about the money because I do well in life. Mm-hmm. But I want someone, first, I have 4 C's.
Oh, let's go to the 4 C's.
The 4 C's.
All right.
And the 4 C's, I think I have told you before. The first one is crave.
Crave?
Crave. CRAVE.
Okay.
Because it is important that you are attracted to the person that you are going to be dating. I should have an attraction. Physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever that attraction is, but there has to be an attraction. I have to see you and want to be with you. I don't want to see you and go, uh-oh. 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 I don't.
So he has to, so he has to be on the crave list.
It's got to be on, because passion goes with crave.
Right.
And you have to have passion for the person you're going to be in the love relationship with. That type of love is called eros. Eros love is sexual love. Right. It's passion. Correct. And you want to have passion with the person you're talking about yoking your life up with. So that's the first C.
Right.
The second C is connection. And connection is I just get you and you just get me.
That's a
we
good
laugh at the same things.
That's a good feeling.
You when you see their name pop up on the phone, you get
Yeah,
all giddy.
Yeah.
Oh my
You want to take
God.
the call.
You want to take the call. You don't look at the call and go,
No,
nope.
not now.
But you look at the call and go, oh, hey,
Yeah.
how you doing? So yeah.
What makes up that connection in your opinion?
I don't
Doc.
know. I think that
What's
it's
up,
just
Doc?
I just
With
think
the-
that
with
it's
the
just some
connection.
people that just get you. I think that God created people to where we are not even supposed to be independent. We're created to be interdependent. So there's
Right.
people that's just wired for you.
Correct.
I just think that and there's some people that just ain't.
Yep.
And we have to pay attention to that connection. The next C is communication. You have to be able, like you were saying, if I ask you a direct question,
You got to give me a straight
give
answer.
me a straight answer. Stand in your truth.
Correct. Right. Whatever the truth is.
Whatever the truth
I can
is.
understand it.
Yes.
Because shit happens.
Exactly.
You said life happens.
Life happens.
Right. I mean, I got it. But if I ask you a straight question, give me a straight answer.
And so I remember, and I'm getting ready to be super transparent here. But I dated a guy for a long time that I never went to his house.
Mm-hmm. He came to yours.
He came to my house.
Right.
And I would always say, well, why can't I come to your house? Oh, you're going to come to my house one day. Someday you're going to come to my house. And then by the time I finally got to where he wanted me to come to his house, I ain't like him no more.
Why?
Because I felt like he was always evasive about his life.
But was he evasive because he maybe thought that your life was so much better than his that he was embarrassed by his circumstances?
No.
He had a little apartment
or
something like that? How people do.
Right, but
They don't want you to see.
No, he had a house.
Okay.
In a very nice neighborhood.
Okay, so he wasn't that.
No, it wasn't that.
It wasn't that.
I always thought he was hiding something.
Mm.
And so you have to pay attention to your gut. And your gut will never lead you wrong. Your gut is always, because we are spirit first. We are spirit that
animals, that is true.
We are a spirit that occupies a physical dwelling.
Right.
And so your spirit connects with other spirits. Your spirit, have you ever walked into a room and when you walked into that room, you go, This ain't my people. Person. Yeah.
Yeah. We call it energy.
Yes.
Their energy is
something is off. Right. You go, pay attention to it. But then have you ever walked into a room and you go, yeah. Hey, pay attention. Too often we don't pay attention. Even when we're driving. Have you ever been driving and don't go that way today? And then you go that way and then you get in an accident. Or you go that way
and you're tied up
in the traffic. So pay attention because God is always speaking and he speaks in your spirit.
Yes, I agree with that. And the fourth C?
Commitment.
Oh, that's the big C.
So commitment is so important because the word tells us how do two walk together unless they agree. So you got to have agreement. And so commitment is different for different people. So even though that's a loose term that we use, what commitment means for me may be totally different than what it means for you. So if I'm with that person, I have to talk about and agree what commitment is going to be for us. And it doesn't matter what the world says. It doesn't matter what the church people say. It doesn't matter what my parents did. I have to decide what commitment looks like for this person and me.
And that's changed.
And it changes with different people. So what I did with my first husband was totally different than what I did with my second husband. And now I'm on my way to number 3.
All right now.
Oh my. Oh Shando. Oh, I'm just saying. So it's going to be different because the people are different. And the other thing, even if you're in a relationship for a long time, the one constant thing you can understand is that change is going to occur.
Always.
So you have to be willing in relationships over time to learn the newness of the person that you've been with. So it's interesting because we have this song that we listen to in our community. If you don't know me by now, you will never know me. That ain't true. Because you got some responsibility on that too. Because sometimes we're expecting people to know things about us that we've never told them.
Absolutely.
Just because you live with me, don't know that you know what I'm
No,
thinking.
because life is happening while you're
Oh, and I
yeah,
could be
I'm
gone.
responding to a
I'm at
thousand different
work.
things.
I'm
Right,
traveling. You
right,
have no idea if I don't tell you.
right.
So you have to be open in communication with the mate that you have.
Hmm.
And a lot of times people aren't, and they don't know how to, or they may be ashamed of something that they've done or something that's happened to them. But the person that you decide to walk this life out with, shame shouldn't be there. I should be able to tell you everything. If I'm able to be naked physically, I need to be able to be naked spiritually
Emotionally,
and emotionally
correct.
with that person.
That's a very, very good point, because both bring a certain amount of reservation.
Yes, it
When
can.
you're over 21, right?
I don't have that no more.
Oh, this
Hey,
is
if you get to look at these goodies, you are in a special place. Because I trust, and you know what? I think that another thing is that you have to have self love. Because if you don't love yourself, you'll never really accept love from somebody else.
correct.
Because in the back of your mind, you'll be going, how can they really like me?
Or you doubt yourself.
Yep, you doubt. And then you doubt what they like. Like if they said, oh, like, because I have like love handles. And so I remember when I was married, my husband would grab them and pull me. And I would go, oh, stop doing that. He said, I love it. And I go, what's wrong with you that you love that?
Hmm.
Because I didn't like it.
Right.
And
We,
because I didn't
we're
like it,
programmed not to like it.
yes. And so I thought something was wrong with him because he liked it.
Mm.
Instead of saying, oh my goodness, this is great
Yeah,
that everything that I am, he likes.
that's fantastic.
So we have to get to the point that the skin that we are in, that we love it. Because then we'll draw somebody who will love it.
Absolutely. So you're saying your self love brings new love and other love, and so
Yes.
that's important for
Yes.
our audience to understand self love.
Self love is so critical, and self love goes right with self care. Because if I love myself, then I'm going to care for
That is
myself.
absolutely true.
And caring for myself, a part of, because a lot of times when people hear self love or self care, they think
It's selfish, but it's not.
going to get their nails done, going to get their feet done, getting a massage, and all of that is wonderful. But self care is deeper than that. It is really understanding when to say no, and that no is okay. It's knowing when to say yes. But too often we will say no what we should have said yes to.
What do you mean? For example,
For example, I may get an opportunity to do a TV show,
okay,
and then I go, oh, but I don't want to be fat on TV. So I say no. But I should have said yes.
hmm,
Because the opportunity, this happened to me. I had an opportunity to do a TV show and I didn't do it. And in my mind, I didn't do it because I said I didn't want to be fat on TV. And I was talking to a bishop friend of mine later, and he says, well, I've been looking for you on the show, baby. Where you been? I says, I haven't done it. He said, why not? I says, to be real honest, I don't want to be fat on TV. And he said, daughter, do you know there's someone at home waiting to be delivered, but they got to see you in that package? God knew the package you were in when he opened the door of possibility. So too often you'll get an opportunity and you'll talk yourself out of it. And God knew what he was doing when he gave you the opportunity.
yeah.
So knowing when to say
They
yes.
can see you. They already knew what you look like when they offered
When
you
they
the
offered
role.
me the
Role.
offered
They
the
knew what you look
opportunity.
like. They didn't
Yes.
ask you to change
They
up.
didn't ask me to
Mm-mm.
change a thing. And so saying yes and knowing when to say yes, but then knowing when to say no. Sometimes we'll say yes to people and we're tired, we're overwhelmed, we're overworked. We know we don't have the time to do it, but because we want to be liked,
Correct.
we'll say yes when we really should have said no.
That's absolutely true. And again, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Chop It Up with attorney Linda Bernard and my esteemed guest, Dr. Sabrina. It's right there on her chest. Here at WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. I always like to say the nation, but it's actually in the world. And I'd also like to mention before we go back to our conversation about the upcoming festival, Detroit Festival of the Arts. It's been defunct for since 2008. No festival of arts for all these years. And now Dr. Roger Penzabany, who's the who you just met, who's the producer of this show and owner of this station, is bringing it back
All
on
right.
August 14th, 2022 at U of D. Speaking of that 2022, and again, we're on YouTube, Facebook, every single social media platform. I urge you to tune in, and you can see our shows as they are archived as well.
Great.
But on that 2022 thing, interestingly enough, the other day, as you know, it was 02/22/22, and I was wondering how many people got married like on the day. Those days really mean
It
a
means
lot to
something.
people, like 10, 10, 10. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm surprised you didn't take advantage of that, since this is the month of hearts, and you said earlier
I
you
love
like
hearts.
hearts.
I love hearts. I collect hearts. I
I have
do.
one over my bed. I know
I
what you're
love
saying.
hearts, but no, I'm not. I'm not ready to marry yet.
So we'll have to do 3, 3, 23, because we're not going to wait to 33.
Oh,
So
never,
no.
never. Oh
so
no.
so we have something to look forward to, or something else. We'll figure it out here.
I am just open to the possibilities, and so
You're falling in love.
one of the things that I will say,
You didn't answer the
I don't know.
question. You're falling in love.
I
You're
like,
smiling.
I like them. I
You're
like them.
falling in like.
I like
You're
them.
in like.
I'm in like.
You're
I'm
in
in,
like.
I
And
am,
in lust.
I am definitely in
I
like.
have 3 things. You talked about your 4 things. I have 3.
Okay.
They're like, lust, love.
Okay.
So you're in 2 of, you're in 3 of those. You're in all 3.
No,
Which ones are you in?
like,
Just like,
just like.
not lust and love.
Not yet.
Girl, you better hurry up.
I will say this.
Not the love part, but I'm talking about the lust part.
It is very important to be open.
Absolutely.
And sometimes when we've been hurt, from past relationships and things, that we spend a lot of time talking about and focusing on what we don't want, and don't spend time thinking about what we do want. And so I made a conscious effort to pray and to write about what I want, not what I don't want, because what you focus on is what grows. And what you draw to you. So if I keep saying, I don't want a man who lies, I don't want a man who cheats, I don't want a man who's a scammer, and if I keep saying all of that, guess what's going to show up?
I don't. I get negativity brings negativity.
That's what's going to show up.
That's exactly what happens.
But if I say I want a man who's romantic, I want a man who is funny, I want a man who is generous, I want a man who's protective, I want a man who's can communicate well. I want these things. And so not only can I say that I want those things, I got to be those things.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us today on Chop It Up with myself, Attorney Linda Bernard, and Dr. Sabrina Jackson, the guru for on Channel 2 and now in movies and sitcoms and everything else. I'm just so pleased that you could come and join us today. Thank you
so
for your
much
time.
For having
and most
me.
of all, for your wisdom.
Oh, thank you. I just have to be transparent. I think too often people aren't. So how do we teach people when we won't use our own testimonies? Your tests become your testimony, and so you have to share it. So thank you for allowing me to share mine with you today.
Thank you. And again, you're watching WJZZ Cool TV. Thank you for your time and attention. I think he was cutting us off. That's why he turned my light on.